Hey folks, I have, because Lori just reminded me, started recording. So just keep that in mind as you're talking and saying anything. We're going to want this to be available for folks to view who can't be on right now. So we will be recording. Just keep that in mind. I'll repeat that as we go along, as more folks join. People pouring in. Looks good. I don't know if it's hot as hell where you guys are, but it is where I am. All of a sudden we have summer now that it's almost fall. Now summer is here. 2 days ago, I had new daffodils blooming. It was June apparently, and now it's August. So Debbie Jordan is joining. We know it's a party when Debbie's on board.
Uh-oh. What happened?
We will let folks filter in. We're still a few minutes before start time. And I'll kick this thing off and then turn it over to the presenter. This is really her show, not mine. I think there's going to be juggling. Is that right? You said juggling and a literal dog and pony show.
No, that was at the commissioners meeting today.
That was it. That sounds like every commissioners meeting is some sort of dog and pony show. All right, let's see who else is joining here. Make sure I'm not ignoring anyone.
Here's my girl.
Oh, no.
Hey, Zoom user with the Christmas stockings, can you identify yourself? Hello? Can you hear me? Somebody just joined, identified only a Zoom user, and they have a image of Christmas stockings on a wall. Okay, maybe they can't hear me right now.
Hey Sam, it's Dawn DeLuigi. She's trying to get in. She's she's having some technical problems. So
okay, cool. I mean, we're
she'll get
gonna
it
have all kinds of folks coming in that not necessarily recognized by my computer, so don't want to make a real big deal out of it. I was just curious more than anything else.
Well, thank you for
everybody
that.
else seems to be joining without issue. Again, I will repeat, we already started recording. That's mostly so Sam's Alzheimer's doesn't kick in and he forgets to press the recording button when we're into the substance. So just because we want to be able to utilize this, and folks that can't be here tonight take advantage of Lori's expertise. So just keep that in mind as you're participating and talking. I mean, we're not planning on mass marketing the video or anything, but just keep in mind. I also, we have broadcast the Zoom link pretty widely on the internet and on Facebook. So this is not like something that's confined to a set group of known quantities. So I don't really anticipate any great security issues, but obviously keep in mind, if you're speaking, you're essentially speaking in at least a semi-public forum. So all right, got a bunch more folks coming in now. We're up to 17. Somebody that just joined and then ran away on video. So I don't know who that was. All right, still more people coming in. I think we are still not even at 7 o'clock, and I will wait a couple of minutes after 7 before I sort of do the intro. And again, Lori's the presenter, so I'm just going to kind of tee this up and then I'll close it out at the end, but it's her show. Somebody is somewhere upside down with their camera.
It's America.
That's like the American flag flying upside down. That was, I don't know. I'm a little seasick actually from that for a second. I don't know. When I first got a video camera back in the days when that was cool, before you just videoed with your iPhone, I remember I would all the time forget to turn off the video camera and then leave it hanging down around the deck. And so I would have hours of video of the ground in all sorts of exotic places. That wasn't particularly useful.
Hey, I'm watching my girlfriend on Zoom.
Beth, you're on,
All right.
your audio's on.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I will repeat these instructions, but since we already have 18 folks on here, first of all, if anybody's reaching out to you and they're having trouble getting on, just tell them to try again, because most people don't seem to be having any problem. I would say this: check your cameras. If you don't want your cameras on showing the video, turn your cameras off. If you're not speaking, please mute your microphones, because background noise it's crazy how background noise will just drown out the presenter in conversation. Again, we're right at 7 o'clock and we still got people coming in, so I'm gonna string this out for a few more minutes.
Yeah, take your time. I'm good, Sam.
Yeah, we're in no rush. Well, let's just see 2 or 3 more minutes and see who floats in. I mean, and we'll go from there. We are, again, because I think some people have joined since I said this just a moment ago, we are already recording because we want to have the presentation to distribute to members of the coalition that can't be on right now. So this is, just keep that in mind when you're talking, that it is being recorded. I don't really expect any issues with the call, and we're not going to exactly, we're not making copies and distributing this to everybody in the state of Pennsylvania or anything, but still, since we are recording, you are advised. Please mute your microphones if you're not talking, because the background noise, the other thing that happens with the background noise is, of course, it ends up switching camera views to you whenever that happens. Couple more people coming in right now. I see we have good representation across the state. Obviously, a lot of you I know personally, and I know Erie just joined that. Erie just signed in a moment ago. So that's good to see. That's our newest group in the coalition out in Erie, and they are hard charging. If you need a morale boost, go to Erie. They also do one heck of a barbecue. That's cool. So a couple more minutes and then we'll get rolling. Hello, folks.
Somebody's listening to something good.
Yeah. If you're not talking, please mute your microphones, because the background noise bleeds over and drowns everybody else out. So please mute your microphones in between talking, please. A couple more minutes. I'm going to kick this off. Again, I'm just going to intro it, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lori. She's going to run the show, and then I'll close the thing out at the end. Mute your microphones, please, and please save your questions to the end, because we don't want to do this thing where we're asking questions and her response to all the questions is, yes, I was about to get to that. Let's get to the point where she's gotten all her information out, which I think, based on our trial run, Lori, is roughly a half hour. And
About 35 minutes, I think.
Yeah. 35 minutes, and then we will have time to do questions and still bring this in somewhere around the hour mark. Because I know everybody is busy, and we try to be pretty religious about that in the coalition, not letting things just, mushroom into something that eats your entire evening. Okay, so let me kick this off. First of all, I assume everybody on the call knows me. If there's somebody on the call that doesn't know me, I'm Sam Faddis. I'm the president of the Pennsylvania Patriot Coalition. We will be having a presentation here by Lori Katz. Can you guys still see me? My screen went blank.
Yes,
Lori,
I can see
can
you.
you see me? All right. I don't know what's going on. It glitched. Somebody else came in maybe. All right. I'm Sam Faddis. I'm the president of the Pennsylvania Patriot Coalition. I'm just teeing this up. Lori Katz is going to do the presentation. And look, the short version, since we don't spend all night doing an introduction, is Lori's here in a capacity of what I call the idea lady, the think out of the box lady. And the point of tonight is not to sort of lecture everybody and say, thou shalt necessarily speak like Lori, or adopt every proposal that Lori trots out, or view everything exactly the same way Lori does. The point is for her to kind of challenge the way you talk and communicate and message, because we as a coalition got to be more effective, all of us, including me, starting with me, right? We're at the point where our whole drive is not asking other people to do something for us. The whole drive is taking control of the apparatus. So we're not talking to politicians who don't care about our issues and don't see things the way we see them. We're talking to people who we put in office, and we're in control of the apparatus, and we're not asking anymore, we're telling. Okay, so that's a huge undertaking. Everybody understands that. It's a long-term project, but that's where we are. And that means we got to get out of the mode of just talking to those of us who already agree with us, right? The echo chamber, that's what I mean by that. Just using terminology that makes everybody already in your group laugh and think you're clever, to being able to communicate in terms that convince the folks that don't agree with us to come over to our side. And also along the way, I think Lori's going to talk about some things that will help you understand the way in which our opponents use language and how they often frame the narrative, right? So mutilating little kids and cutting off their genitals and pumping them full of chemicals is not playing Dr. Frankenstein. It's gender affirming care, this kind of thing. They set the terms, they do this. So that's the whole point, to leave you guys with some things to think about and incorporate and decide what makes sense to you, what doesn't make sense to you, that thing. Okay. Again, it's not a dictation of here's the template, you must go forth and do this. It's just to get you thinking about some things that hopefully are new and make you look at things in a different capacity. Please mute your microphones when you're not talking. Lori's presentation is going to take about 35 minutes. At the end, the remainder of the hour, roughly, we'll use for question and answer. I'll close it out. We're not going to be hard over on having to pull the plug exactly at 8, but in the coalition, we try to be pretty serious about not letting these things morph into something that just goes on and on for hours and hours, because we respect your time. And also, it's not like Lori's going to disappear off planet Earth when she's all done with this. This is to get you started thinking about things, and then we could do follow-up presentations. I'm sure she'd be willing to engage with people one-on-one, all kinds of things like that. So what I'm going to do now, Lori, if I can find you in the avalanche of folks here, is I am going to make you into the host
Right.
for this, because I think you want to be able to share your screen, correct?
Yes, I have to share my screen.
Okay, hang on one second. Before I do that, I'm going to admit the two people that are sitting in the waiting room.
Sure.
Give me a second. We got 2 more people coming in. So let me go back and find you now.
Shall I jump up and down?
This would be a good time for you to do the juggling. Weren't we talking about that? Now,
Hey,
as
it
I'm
looks
doing
like-
this, people just keep flooding in. So
Why
I'm
don't, do
gonna
you
make
want to
you
wait
the ho-
another minute
I'm
or
gonna-
two? Because
well,
I
I'm-
don't know how to do that. I don't know how to allow people to enter.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna have to wing that because we got to get moving. I just
Okay.
admitted 3 more people. I'm making you the host.
Okey
All
doke.
right. So,
Okay.
and I can claim that back. I know. So you should now be the host and able to share your screen.
Okie dokie. Share my screen.
When we did this in the practice, it worked flawlessly. I'm sure it'll work
Did,
flawlessly.
and now I can't see anybody.
Where's your technical advisor, your
He's
husband, who was
they're
consulting?
actually outside.
Uh,
Hold on a sec. Hey, can you guys help me? My technical team. Yeah, we did this and it worked fine.
Down at the bottom on my screen, right in the center. at
Oh,
the-
wait, I can admit somebody. Okay, I just admitted somebody. That was the first
Okay.
person I've
If
ever
you go
admitted.
down to the controls at the bottom of the screen, there should be, on my screen, it says share screen right in the middle.
Oh, that's why. Because
Oh, your
I-
technical
Oh, I didn't
advisor
even
has showed
see
up. Okay, that's
Yes,
good.
he has. That's my husband, the technical. So share, oh, right
Yeah,
there.
you can
Share
hit
screen is right there.
admit right there,
Oh, I'm gonna admit
and you
somebody.
can go through and you can mute people.
Yeah,
too.
there are still
See
people.
how
Oh,
they're
I
not
can
muted?
mute
Right
some?
click, try,
Oh.
yeah, mute there with this person too. Anybody you don't see, Nancy, get Nancy. Yeah,
Sorry, everybody.
I'm gonna
Bear
mute
with-
on my end since you've got the ball.
Okay, so now I can hit share
Yep,
screen
share
and then I
screen.
should be able to admit
You'll
people
s-
or I'm not gonna be able to see.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Okay,
It'll probably pop up.
And then
Share that and you're on your way.
well, how come? Wait, why is it not? So then I hit share. Can everybody see the screen?
I can
Thumbs
see
up,
the
Tim?
screen.
Okay, great.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
awesome. Thank you. I'm gonna. Okey doke. Well, thank you all for participating tonight. I'm excited to share some thoughts and experiences with fellow citizens. This presentation came about from a discussion that I had with Sam Faddis at yet another Patriot event. As I looked around, I saw the same faces and heard the same messages, and I realized that we're in an echo chamber and it's not expanding much. This presentation is about exiting the echo chamber and expanding our reach. A little bit about me. I graduated from college with a major in psychology and a minor in political science. I went on to trade school and became a small business owner. My political views have matured over time. I've been registered Democrat. I've been registered independent, registered Green Party, and I have now evolved ultimately into a Republican. The 2020 election woke my husband and I up to the fact that we didn't truly understand the system, and dutifully showing up to vote would just not be enough. We started going to our local GOP meetings, which led to me creating literature and door knocking for a school board campaign. And that was followed by working hard for Alex Enton in his bid for PA District 1's Republican congressional primary, and also led to me becoming a Bucks County committee woman. All of these endeavors were not things that I ever thought that I would do. And door knocking was far outside my comfort zone, but now it's my favorite political activity to do. In full transparency, this is my first Zoom presentation ever, and I am once again stretching out of my comfort zone to do this. But I feel that sharing my ideas and experiences will hopefully inspire you to consider moving outside of your comfort zones and try something new. After all, discomfort is where you find growth. As much as I enjoy the camaraderie of our political groups, I feel like we truly need to expand our community. I'm going to present 3 areas that I feel will help us break out of our echo chambers. Keep in mind that you can use this model and these techniques for any cause. And it's key to have fun with this too along the way. You simply engaging will move the dial towards progress. Take a risk and remember the map. This worked better before. Let's see. Sorry, everybody, I am trying to advance my screen. Here we go. Okay. Let's talk about language. Words are powerful. If you change the language, you change the trajectory. You can use language to manipulate, enrage, calm, unite, divide. In other words, to help you accomplish your goals. A word is not just a word, but it can provoke thoughts and reactions. The media are masters of buzzwords and language. They collaborate and collude on messaging. Check this out.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities.
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
We are Fighting our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
Maybe we are agree without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous for democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous.
Wash, rinse, repeat. Propaganda. If you say something over and over, people start to believe it. If you hear it from multiple places, people believe it more. The media is manipulating the public by saturating them with the same topics and use the same precise language to match that. Clever. We can use these tactics and get our message out too.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Here are a few examples of the words that I feel are overused or purposely misleading. Our media and politicians created a new vocabulary. Let's start with Obama's favorite. It's still constantly used today, and I feel like it's a hat tip to him every time. Folks. Imagine if we replaced folks with the word citizens. For example, folks want to vote for somebody that they believe in. How about citizens want to vote for someone they believe in? Let's make a conscious effort to remove stale words and replace them with more descriptive and cutting-edge words. Election shenanigans. We know what the truth is, so let's not make it sound amusing or playful, because what they did is serious and obviously devastating. They hijacked our election. The next one is pretty self-explanatory, but I feel that Republicrat gets people thinking again. So I've used that over and over again, and I'm hoping to hear more people using that as well. DC to Versailles. This is a little bit more convoluted, but here's an abbreviated explanation for this revision. King Louis XIV of France, who ruled until 1715, moved himself and his court and the entire government 25 miles outside of Paris to Versailles, separating the people from their representatives. The representatives lived well while the people suffered. Pamphlets were circulated amongst the populace about the corruption and debauchery they found out was going on there. This eventually led to the French Revolution. If you're not familiar with the history of the French Revolution, please check into it, because the similarities between Versailles and DC are astounding to me. The bottom line is that DC emulates what Versailles was. Let's shine a light on it by changing the word that we use. Progressive means going forward or advancing and insinuates something positive, like progress. This definitely does not describe the far left wing accurately. My experience and observations of their policies and behavior are regressive, like promoting segregation, or aggressive, like Antifa and BLM. Let's change the terminology to suit the trajectory. Once the greatest nation on the planet, and we still are in some ways, but presently we're upside down and inside out due to terrible policies and lack of true representation for the populace. We are replacing America with America because we've lost our A rating. And a friend of mine showed up wearing this shirt, which I thought was great and a great way to explain what it's about. Word of mouth is more powerful than talking heads on TV. Conversation and a shift in language could be the key that unlocks the prison of misguided citizens' minds. It's all about using these terms and integrating them into conversation and getting them to catch on. Look for opportunities, create opportunities to use them. Be on the offensive versus the defensive. Do not let the media and politicians direct you. Examples come in the form of bills that turned out to be the exact opposite of their name. And it's clever how the government dupes us all the time with things like this, like the Equality Act could be renamed the Inequality Act. The Patriot Act could be renamed the Spy on Americans Act. And the debt ceiling really has no ceiling at this time, thanks to the Biden-McCarthy collaboration. So I called it the debt or financial galaxy at a recent commissioners meeting. When we call our reps, when we discuss bills in public or with people, let's get on the same page and call them what they are. Let's share the absurdity with others in changing the name and not playing along with their scam and letting them know or putting them on notice that we know what's going on. DEI. This is not only their school agenda, but a constant saturation in our public forums, like commissioners' meetings. This is intended to make you feel like there's something wrong with you if you don't hop on board with this concept, because it sounds great, but what it promotes in reality is division. We must call officials out on this agenda. I can only speak through experience, and at a recent commissioners meeting, I did this. And as an aside, before I play this clip, they also used our tax dollars to paint a rainbow crosswalk in our town. So I responded to that as well. 13A, B, and C, what is the focus of the ARPA-funded employer training? And then I would like to go to 7E. 7E says that the county will be spending more than $120,000 to impose a strategic action plan to bring diversity, equity, and inclusion to our homeless population. Can you explain the steps and goal of this action plan? How will this $120,000 ensure our homeless achieve great equity? Please explain if white people will be excluded because they're not diverse enough to receive assistance. What does diversity mean here? What is the origin of the money? I also have a question about inclusion. I noticed that presentation B today is about June being Pride Month. In May, you talked about Older Americans Month, Community Action Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, and whatever AAPI month is, which Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I believe. Yesterday was D-Day. Did you know that Military Appreciation Month was initially recognized by a resolution in the US Senate in 1999 and traditionally takes place every year throughout the entire month of May? It was established to remind Americans to celebrate this patriotic month that pays tribute to those who have sacrificed so much for our freedom so that everybody can be included. Why did you commissioners not recognize them? Don't they deserve a crosswalk to be painted in Doylestown to celebrate all that they sacrificed for us? I think so. I wonder if any other Bucks County citizens agree. And to comment on the pride comment that the gentleman had made, rainbow ties do not protect children.
Yes.
Well, my comment at the end was ad lib. I was responding to a prior presenter's comment in the context of Pride Month that books help children, but guns don't. So I felt that that needed to be addressed. And we also must call our officials out on their misguidance. 13A. The word or concept of book banning is different than book burning, but it's used to stir up emotions surrounding that. And it conjures up a picture, in my mind at least, of World War II and the Nazi officers hauling books out of libraries, bookstores, pillaging from people's personal collections that they deemed anti-Nazi and burning them in the streets. This is not happening in our schools. Book banning to me means the book is pulled from the shelves, it's not printed, and it's not published anymore, and there's no access available. It's kind of like the incandescent light bulbs that our government just banned, actually banned. Manufacturing has stopped if you are banned from selling them, and the government associates it with destroying the environment. The bottom line is, it's important to have these conversations with people and see what their understanding of these words are. Did you know that there's no discrimination when it comes to white supremacy? It's not an exclusive club anymore. You can be any race and be a white supremacist. Asians, people of color, and Latinos can be white supremacists. Just ask Larry Elder and Candace Owens. If someone uses this terminology, ask them what they mean. Listen to their answer. Ask them, how does this person fit into that category? It's like challenging a bully. Approach it as if you don't understand and you're truly seeking knowledge. Turn it into a conversation. It's a win when you challenge people to think. The aggressive, progressive politicians' agenda is to stir up the population and create fear and division. And then they send their low information troops out to attack and intimidate rational people into silence and compliance. So what can we do? We can combat this through conversation and education. We have to shine a light on this and call them out on it. Here's a clip where I'm speaking at another commissioners meeting. Actually, it's the same commissioners meeting at public comment time. I'm using new terminology and I'm highlighting what I see happening in our society. And here's the 2-minute clip for that. Evening town halls. You can offer this right here in this room and make yourselves available for public conversations with Bucks County citizens. This forum that you have set up here doesn't offer conversation. Bucks County wants and needs this, especially as our country has gone over a financial cliff into a financial galaxy, and our Constitution is being shredded by the politicians of this country. There are many topics that our community is concerned about and wants to discuss, but they work during the day. You are capable of changing this platform to include discussion or create an evening town hall, just like BCWSA did. Why do you refuse and make excuses? Our citizens have publicly asked more than 15 times here over the past 2 years, and you've made excuses and refused. What are you afraid of? What are you politicians afraid of? The truth is they don't want conversation. They want their parties want dictation. That is why they offer no candidate choice. We need to wake up, Bucks. Hear me clearly. There are 2 parties here, we the people and the politicians. Their agenda is one of division. The DC agenda that they promote is marching orders they get from our governor to impose on us. Don't be fooled. Let's come together as a community, support local businesses and farmers, and have conversations with everyone you come in contact with. We can figure this out without them. I see no real leaders sitting on that dais. I see useful tools. If you put 100 black ants and 100 red ants in a jar, nothing will happen. But if you shake the jar hard, the ants will start killing each other because the red ants consider the black ants their enemies and the black ants consider the red ants their enemies. The real enemy is the one who shakes the jar. The same thing happens in human society. So before we attack each other, we should think about who is shaking the jar. Abortion, election security, illegal immigration, political prisoners, gender dissonance, rainbow rooms, Second Amendment rights, normalizing pedophilia, boys and girls sport.
Thank you.
So I got out of my comfort zone and started public speaking because I felt like, if not me, then who? Somebody has to get up there and say it and be brave. So that's what I did, and that's what I continue to do. And I'm not saying that it's not scary, because it can be scary, but if not me, then who? So let's take the bull by the horns and purposely change their terminology to shine a light on the absurdity and misinformation and deception. Stop being fearful. Have fun with this. Inject humor. Try using different words and see if they catch on. And let's see if we can create a shift in public talking points. At the beginning of my presentation, I asked you to remember the map. This is the map that I'm speaking about. This is from 2016. The Marxist Democrat areas shrunk in 2020, and the conservative areas expanded as Trump got millions more votes. We have lost the art of conversation in America. We must restore this. It is likely that you have more in common with strangers than you think. Take every opportunity to engage with fellow Americans. Take a risk and remember the map. Take a picture of this map and keep it with you. If you're concerned about starting a conversation, just take a look at the map. Everywhere that we go, an opportunity presents itself. If you're standing in line, if you're talking over the phone with tech support or a bill company, at the gas station, supermarkets, sitting in a waiting room, make a tongue-in-cheek joke or observation coupled with a comment. Wait for a reaction. Decide where you'll go from there. Here's an example of a positive statement and a possible conversation starter that I have used countless times. I bet you have a nice smile behind that mask. Let's hope that we don't have to start using that again soon, but I'm going to be unmasked and I'm going to be using that soon if other people are masked up. Or, you know, if you're in the grocery store, you could say, feels like a million years ago when this bread, cereal, or whatever was $2. Wait for the reaction. And you can end with, I guess that's the new America for us. We've lost our A rating. Remember, guys, America. There are so many people out there that are chomping at the bit to connect with others that think like them and want to talk about the clown world that's being imposed on us by this regime, but they're convinced that the map is mostly blue. And thanks to the media and political propaganda machine, they think it is. I know this and all this through my personal experiences over the last 3 years. I belong to a CSA, which is community supported agriculture. It's a farm. And I recently met a woman at an outdoor class that I attended. She's probably on here now. Nancy, hello. One topic led to another, and we were talking about the nonpartisan topic of water, which somehow led to the topic of COVID and how isolating it felt for her and for so many people. The three of us wound up speaking for 2.5 hours after the class, and she revealed to me how terrified she was to speak with anybody about anything during and after COVID for fear of setting them off. Sound familiar? She was so elated to speak freely in our conversation. She's going to remember the map and take a risk because now she understands how others could be feeling just like she was, craving the interaction, but fearful that they live amongst radicals, mostly radicals, which is untrue. Our overlords don't benefit from us connecting with each other. So let's keep connecting. It doesn't always have to be a full-blown conversation, but the goal can be just to get people thinking. Just like the smile behind the mask example earlier, it makes the person aware that the mask is on their face and that it's noticed by others and will possibly and hopefully trigger contemplation. Well, how do we exit the echo chamber? Say I have a goal of getting attendance up at commissioners' meetings. I will print out an information slip that the meetings are held the first and third Wednesday of each month at this time and at this location. If you can't make it, you can view it on this website. I can have those in my purse or pocket. So when I meet someone and have a conversation, I can say, hey, it'd be great if you can join me at the commissioners' meeting. You won't believe how they spend our tax dollars. You should hear it for yourself. Here's the info. Hope to see you there. I can print multiple copies of the flyers and have them in my car as I go about my day. I can amplify my probability and possible impact if I put those flyers on people's windshields in the county. For example, in a supermarket parking lot or in a mall parking lot. I'd put some info on there in that instance, if it's going on a windshield, like, you should hear how the county commissioners spend our hard-earned tax money. Come to a meeting and hear for yourself. Again, be sure to put all the relevant meeting information on the flyer. It's a good idea to have somebody proofread it before you print multiple copies, lessons learned. Remember to leave them on cars that have PA license plates. And I have one here as an example that I've printed up. It's a little bit, bigger. You could shrink it down if it's going to go on somebody's windshield. This is more so for somebody that I'm going to hand the information to. And anyway, so you can use this and see if it bolsters attendance. So this tool is useful for raising awareness on an issue, increasing attendance at local meetings or events, and driving people to a website for more information. This idea came about because we're just not getting traction with our reps. We call them, we email them, we rally outside their offices, and it just doesn't feel effective. They seem to do whatever they want, regardless of us, and make excuses for their absurd and detrimental votes. And that goes back to the Versailles mentality. I recognize that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Instead of standing outside of reps' offices, how can we switch things up? What's a different approach? And my answer is the media. I feel like we need to switch gears and shine a light on the media who is ignoring their job and has become a megaphone for propaganda. They need to be called out by the citizens. And how can we do this? Well, we can hold a rally and bring exposure there. The goal is to raise public awareness and let the media know that we know what's going on. We don't expect them to cover this. We expect to bring awareness to the public who's driving by. I always check my intentions before attending a rally and remind myself that not everybody is aware, so I try to be understanding. When I get my message across, I do this with signage. I've been to rallies where people fill their poster boards with words. Don't do that. People are driving by and they can't see or read the message, so it's lost. A good rule of thumb is to have an interactive message or sign that causes the public to engage, like honk for election security or honk for Flag Day. I'll have a goal, for example, to get every truck to honk their horn. We go like this before they pass by, or every red car, whatever you want to do. And I share this goal with fellow rally goers, and it makes things fun and keeps people engaged. And I have an example of what I've done for a Flag Day rally that I attended. It's just a simple poster, and then this one was for election security. So. Oh, also, remember that the middle finger means that you're number one and you're doing a great job. So don't take it personally and just move on. Keep signage consistent and on point and short. And have the same messages as other rally attendees along the same genre. There shouldn't be more than 3 or 4 messages at a rally. And on this slide are some signage ideas for TV news station rally. There are 3 areas to cover: engage the public, raise awareness, and educate the public with a couple truths. As you can see, some sign ideas are there. You can also add, for example, don't watch fake news or report the truth. When I talk about news outlets, that includes local publications and newspapers like the Philadelphia Inquirer. So if you're standing in front of the Philadelphia Inquirer on Broad Street, you can hold a sign up with, read the Epic Times, read Truth, or something like that. But it should be like. So if you're at a radio station, and standing in front of NPR or something, then you can hold up a sign for a podcast, for example. It should be comparative. For example, there's a podcast that I listen to by Dr. Steve Turley. He's fantastic, very positive. Or you could hold up a sign, listen to War Room, Steve Bannon, for example. But you want to keep your messaging relevant to the specific rally topic of the location that you're at. For example, if you're at a medical freedom rally, you wouldn't hold a sign up for 2,000 mules, for example. So, door knocking. The most important thing, as I see it, is that we need to re-establish conversation locally first. The truth is, our best opportunity for change is on the local level versus the national level. We have some control locally and very little beyond that point. Again, narrow your goals and keep your intentions in check as you door knock. Prepare your walking path and information and resources ahead. When discussing a topic, if someone brings up a local concern, you can suggest, and you're not sure how to address it, you can suggest that they attend their supervisor's meeting or their county commissioners meeting, and they can perhaps bring it up there for them to address. If you don't know, you can also take their information and get back to them. We're living in a clown world, but we can get on a handle on it by working on the local level. Take your concerns to the citizens. You can, for example, school board elections are coming up. You're concerned about that. Introduce yourself. You can say, I'm wondering how you're feeling about what's going on in schools these days. Or you can be more direct. Have you heard about the books that they have in our school libraries? Can I show you some excerpts? Listen to what they have to say. And this gives you a direction of conversation based on their concerns. Make sure that you have your materials prepared and with you. After your discussion with them, you can evaluate, are they an asset to add to your group? And if so, you can extend them information and maybe invite them to a meeting or take their information and let them know about an upcoming event or meeting. Remember to put a note on your walking list about that interaction. So if you want to go back, you know what to expect. This is part of what I mean by a strong walking list. Most people are nice, but not everybody is. Door knocking reminds me of Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. except if you keep good walking list notes and you go back to that house, you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to expect. It's also like the Kenny Rogers Gambler song. You've got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. But don't be discouraged if the interaction goes sour. Please move on to the next interaction and remember the map. To wrap the presentation up before opening lines of questions and discussion, most people are good. Most people are moderate. Most people have common sense. Remember that most people want connection. There's so much propaganda out there to confuse you and concern you and everyone else. Always remember the map. There are 3 areas that I presented, and there's something here for everyone to meet you at your comfort level and offer maybe a new strategy to break out of the echo chamber. I'm happy to share ideas and experiences that I've had that might help in whatever direction that you're going. Every group comprises people with different skills, strengths. Okay to stay in your lane. I'm not judging, but I am encouraging you to please try something new. These are tools that can enhance what your group is already doing. If your personality is such that you don't feel comfortable interacting with people, you can drop flyers on windshields and know that you're contributing to moving us forward. Not everyone can or wants to be the leader. Not everybody wants to be the door knocker or organizer. This is what makes a group function, when everybody's recognizing and using their strengths. I'm optimistic because each one of you refuses to comply with this insanity that is being imposed on us. You stand up for faith, family, hard work, and freedom every single day. Keep doing that. Nobody is coming to rescue us. No celebrity and no president. Do not wait for this. Do not count on this. We, the people, are the ones who are going to rescue our nation from despair and usher in a new beginning. And I believe that we will do this together at the local level. Meaningful change will come from the bottom up, not the top down here. We must get out of our comfort zones, and we must expand the conversation and break out of this echo chamber. We must make sacrifices to do this. Everybody is making sacrifices. As a group member, pick an area and focus on it. Within the group, all areas can be covered. Life is about energy, which is all that we really have to offer one another. You decide what you put your energy to. Thanks for putting your energy here and taking your time to listen tonight. I hope you walk away feeling inspired to try something new and different, even if it's uncomfortable at first, and you might find your true calling and make new friends, make connections, and help bring us out of a dystopian America. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Laurie.
Also, I did want to say, if you want to bolster attendance at the events that Sam mentioned on his Facebook post or your own local events, be prepared every time that you leave the house with pre-printed info tickets or slips that you carry around with you. That will remind you or prompt you to connect with people or put them on windshields as you go about your day. You have a much better chance of getting more people to attend. Thank you.
Okay, folks, let's jump into questions. Who's got questions for Lori? We got about 15, 20 minutes.
Do I stop sharing screen or what do I do?
We can stay in this mode as long as it's
Okay.
working for you. I mean, at this point, some of you know how to work the raise hands function. Otherwise, just somebody start talking and we'll rely on good decorum and not talking over each other. Who's got the first question? I'm looking at chats, by the way, to see who is also maybe sending messages.
I also do want to mention, Sam, that my friend Dawn is here, and Dawn has implemented these strategies, and she can also share with us a couple of things that she's done if people are interested in hearing from her as well. I'll
Okay, do
slide
we have any questions teed up? There are some comments in the chat, but all of them are just complimentary, saying you did a fantastic job and they wish that I would talk less and you would talk more. That's what they're saying. So
That's super sweet.
is,
Thank
by
you
the
so
way,
much.
pretty much how every presentation goes.
Oh, so this isn't
Stop.
special. Thanks, Sam, for that. Thank you.
Sam, stop talking. Anybody got any questions before we bring in the co-host here? Anybody got something burning? I mean, again, we can get you in contact with Lori directly to really discuss how to do this in more depth.
Hey, Lori, it's Barb. How are you?
Hey, Barb, how are you?
I have a quick question. So you know that we're like big with the school going against the school board and whatnot. What have you found to be, what have you found to work when you are out there talking and you're trying to garner support and you are listing the facts and showing all the evidence, and yet you're still not getting any help from any of the parents within the district? They're just like banking on the fact that the same 3 people that go to every single board meeting are going to be able to fight for them, and they're just too lazy. You know what I mean? Like, have you found any success with something that'll help get them more into it?
I know you, and I know that your schedule is jam-packed. However, you show up on somebody's doorstep, you have a conversation with them, you show them excerpts of the books that are there. I think that might be getting them there to the meetings to support you.
Who else?
It makes it personal when you show up, when you take the time to go to somebody's house, when you go door knocking and you make that kind of connection. It motivates people. And when they see the excerpts, they're very surprised. And then you can have a conversation with them and ask them what their concerns are, or did they know about this? Just like I had mentioned in the door knocking piece.
Other questions?
Laurie, I have a question about door knocking.
Sure.
I've had a few experiences door knocking, and I can't say that some were better than others, but I'm wondering if you have any specific tricks to build rapport. I've seen some people ask questions like, what's your biggest issue? That might work. I just do you have any specific things that you do that you think that have worked well?
Yes, I do actually. From my training, in my prior job, I'm an observer. So whenever I'm walking up on a property, I'm checking out every single detail to see what they have in common with me and what I can connect based on that. I'm a gardener. I love to garden. So I'm looking to see what plants they have or whatever, and give them some kind of compliment on something. Introduce myself, give them a compliment, and then I just kind of start talking, and I'm a listener as well. So I want to hear, I might pose a general question. Or if I'm knocking for a specific purpose, I'm going to definitely wind the conversation around to what my purpose is. If I'm door knocking to bolster my group, then, I'm looking at how I can connect based on what they have that we would have in common, and then just wind the conversation around that way. Dawn, do you have anything to? She's a big door knocker as well.
Yeah, I really like door knocking, but what I was going to say about the books, I took a few examples to election day last year, and that really eye-opened a lot of people when they were there. It's a school board election this time, and I think that would be appropriate.
I like that idea actually too, that you can catch them at that point just before they
were horrified.
Vote.
They were horrified.
They need to know. That's true.
But door knocking is always something that you want to make a connection with the person. And if you tell them that you know, something, even if they're not on your side, not argument, don't be argumentative, just try to be, placate them, but give them an example of something you just want to leave them to think about. And that's it.
Thank you both. That was very helpful.
The question here, what are the best times to door knock?
Every time when they're home.
Not during an Eagles or a Phillies game.
I know. I think the weekend, actually, if you can, weekend, or, you know, like after 6.
There was a comment earlier about having a buddy to put flyers on windshields, and I would assume you would both agree that when you're doing something uncomfortable out of your comfort zone, it always helps to have a wingman or wingwoman. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Always. I wasn't comfortable doing any of this at first. I wasn't comfortable putting tickets on people's windshields, you know, information tickets on people's windshields, but you know, you kind of get into it, but it's always helpful if you have a buddy with you. And I would always do that first and suggest that first.
And we would go in groups of 3. There'd always be a driver. And sometimes there'd be 2 drivers and they'd start on both sides of the street and then come into the middle. And that was a more effective strategy to do it that way. And you cover more territory. You also have buddies and you have people driving, which is always helpful.
I have another question here. I'm gonna summarize this, Sharon, in the interest of time. Basically, the question boils down to this: folks not showing up. You know, you got 150 members in a group, and you got 3 people that show up for a meeting. So, how getting people involved, getting people motivated, getting people to turn up.
Personal outreach, make a call.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what that really resonates with me, because I will tell you that, you know, we have 5 officers for the coalition, and we got group leaders, and we got all kinds of structure, and we got working groups. And then the way this really runs is I just am on the telephone all day with folks all over the state. And I still don't pretend like I'm talking to enough people, but that's really how it runs, is personal connections to every one of these people.
Well, the other idea is if you're looking to broaden your reach. I guess your question was more about getting the people who are already plugged in to the meetings rather than casting a wider net. Okay, so that's what I would say. I would say personal contact, like what you're doing.
I think the general tenor of this, and probably by this point I should have just read the question word for word, because I'm taking more time. But like, you got 150 people who will participate online. They'll be in a Facebook group. They'll chat all day. Then you need folks to go out and do the stuff that you're talking about. And you got the same, not just 3 people, but the same 3 people that show up.
Well, that's the energy.
Resonates with all of us that are involved in this whole project.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard because a lot of us feel like we're at a fever pitch right now in a crossroads in our country. And you just want to shake people awake, like what's going on, people that are in your own group. But it comes down to people are putting energy where they want to put their energy. I guess they're not feeling the same flame that we do. So maybe we need to cast a wider net and find those workers, find those people that are really plugged in, find the people that are scared to talk to other people, but have this passion within them and this frustration within them, and offer them this connection, this release of being able to, and relief of being able to speak to other people that think like they do. I mean, there's so many people that are motivated out there who have this energy that really want to direct it towards something meaningful. And I think that we need to expand beyond, because you just can't get people that are within your group motivated. So we have to cast a wider net.
Let me throw in one thing, Laura. Just I think it is important in all of this to exude positivity. All right. Everybody talks about the American Revolution and George Washington. And sometimes that's gets a little simplistic, but I think there are some parallels, right? I mean, in the end, you got a lot of enthusiasm at the beginning, and then you got a lot of people who just basically get discouraged and want to go home. And there's one guy who says, no, for real, we're going to get in those boats, go across the Delaware and kick British butts up and down the road. And 3,000 guys get in the boat and follow him because he won't quit, because it's positive. It's not over till we win, right? I feel like there's a little bit of that going on now with the Patriot movement. People got organized, got angry, made a lot of noise, kind of thought we're going to win and be home by Christmas, typical thing. Now, all of a sudden, we're into, oh, this is going to be a fight. And we're seeing some folks just want to go home. So you're not going to, I guess what I'm saying is you're not going to get them back up. And you guys contradict me, obviously, if you don't agree. You're not going to get them back up and motivated by being negative and putting them down and saying you're a bunch of losers and kicking them in the butt and saying you quit. You got to get out there doing what you're talking about, reach out to them individually, pump them up and motivate them. You're like the coach at halftime who's down by 28 points, right? Who's like, we're going to go out in the second half and win this thing. That's my take.
Well, can I add to that is there's the ask. You have to have the ask. You have to ask specific people specific things.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. You got because I think somebody has an open mic. You have to ask, you said?
Yes, it's all about the ask. You have to ask specific people for specific things. And that's how you'll get them to do things and get them motivated and feel that they're a part of something and that they're needed and that they're necessary.
So can you elaborate on a little bit? Because that's actually an amazing insight.
Okay, so for example, the Quakertown event that you had, say you wanted to have more people from your group attend. Tell them that you need help with, would you be able to help us collect tickets? Would you be able to give them specific asks? And then get more people there, and then they're going to feel involved, and then they're going to feel part of something, and that is going to energize them because they're needed. And that's going to shift their energy from, oh, I'm going to take the day off and, garden, or I don't know, change the oil in my car, to, oh, Sam really needs me, so I'm going to put my energy over here and help my leader. And that in itself will re-energize and reignite them, in my opinion.
Excellent point. What else we got in the way of questions, folks?
Thank you.
And what's your wingman got to contribute? She's only chimed in a little bit there.
She's awesome.
I didn't want to chime in a lot because right now my age group is 70 to 80. They're my friends and they don't have a lot of energy anymore. They're done with all this. I'm the spark. So what do? I try to make them engaged, but in a positive way. I join groups, and I like to join groups, book clubs, and I like to join Bucks County Neighbors. And most of the groups that I'm joining, for whatever it's worth, they're of a different persuasion than I am. So what keeps me going is something educational that'll ring true so that I can chat with them about giving them one idea and then walk away. That's what I do with the book clubs. That's what I do with the Bucks County neighbor groups. And I also engage when I travel, which I do a lot of lately, finding a lot of people are just like us. Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, airport people. I spent a lot of time lately on those delayed planes. And it's always great to talk to people that don't look like us. And what I'm saying is we pick out and then we engage. And most of the time, I'm pleasantly surprised. And I'm happy And I don't believe that there are more like us. Like I looked at that map, even though it's 2016, is amazingly accurate. You would be shocked. And I have friends in the red states and blue states, and I'm finding that even a little bit goes a long way. And I think for me, the educational part, because I was a teacher for a long time, is a very, very important piece, but not shove it down their throat. Try not to be, because I'm very enthusiastic and I tend to be very passionate. My birthday is the 4th of July, and it really does mean that I am a true patriot. I use that word a lot. I'm a patriot, and I love the word patriot. It takes all the division out of most things, because most people, no matter what, are patriots.
And I did want to bump in
Thanks.
when you did mention about the diversity. For just as an example, I was checking out at Costco, and I do see Liz Yaus has her hand raised too. But I was checking out at Costco, and there was a Black cashier and a Latino person helping put my packages in the cart. And so I made a comment, when my $200 bill showed up, and I said, hey, can you charge Biden? And the guy said, he's like, oh, you're telling me. He's like, I wish that we could charge him. And I said, no, actually, like, charge him, because all of my money is being sent to Ukraine. And the cashier was like, yeah, I know. And we're all agreeing. And he's like, oh, and another thing, did you know X, Y, and Z? So that's just an easy way that you can start a conversation. There's so many different ways, checking out at a cash register at a Giant that I had gone to. There's a pop-up that asks you to donate, to Save Children or something like that. And I asked them, I'm like, what do you mean? Where does this go? And we just start a conversation, and I might tell them about the movie that was, just out, called, that I just saw, and the name I'm blanking on.
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom. Thank you. Yes. And then we'll start a conversation about Sound of Freedom, speaking of saving children. So then I can work things in that way and connect and just see where that person lands. There's also standing in the aisle at the market. I'll be, looking at a package ingredients, and I'll see, contains a bioengineered ingredient. So I'll stop somebody walking down the aisle to just kind of have fun for myself in a way and see where they are, and say, contains a bioengineered ingredient. And just kind of take a pulse, and you can connect with people everywhere for everything. When you're at the gas pump, you can say, geez, are you kidding me? Look at the prices. It wasn't like this in 2019, for example, and see where that person lands. And that's a conversation starter. And it's unbelievable how many people agree with you. And then you feel elated. You feel electrified, like, oh, yes, we can do this.
Find somebody you like to go out with. And I met a lot of people I like that are on this meeting tonight. A lot of people. There's a lot of great people.
Liz had her hand raised.
Yeah, let's jump to Liz. Liz, you said you have a quick example.
You told the
of dating.
story, Lori. I wanted you to tell that story, and you said it better than I could have. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
So I was with Lori when that happened, and all of a sudden they're high-fiving each other, and I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah. Oh, I bumped into you at Costco. So yeah.
Yeah.
And you were in line behind me, right? Yep. So
Beth is saying when try to connect with someone, pay them a compliment. If you really want to have a conversation, you probably shouldn't start it on a negative note by insulting somebody or assuming negative things about them, right? That's
truth.
You're trying to make friends, right? You're trying to reach across a divide, or at least a perceived divide. I think your guys' point is very well taken. That a lot of times these days we're creating divides in our head that we find out don't really exist.
But the media,
right? You watched when Trump left getting his mugshot taken the other day, driving through an overwhelmingly Black community, in Florida, and the streets were lined with thousands of people cheering for Donald Trump. You know, everybody was black in a poor area that
Fulton
the
County.
conventional wisdom would say they're all Democrats and they all support Biden. And what are they angry about? They're angry about the same stuff you're angry about. They can't afford gas. They can barely put food on the table. Their kids can't find jobs.
Yep, it's like Versailles. And that's
Yes, it is
interesting.
Versailles, right? The
Hey,
king's
Lori.
in his palace.
Yep.
Lori, can you hear me?
Who's speaking?
This is Beth.
Oh, hello.
Hi, how are you? Long
Good.
time no see.
Yeah.
Real quick, only because that was my business. I'm a sales director with Mary Kay. And one of the things, especially today, that you know, that is a lot of people are scared and they're sad and everything else. And you're right, they are very into themselves, just trying to get through the days. And many people are lonely too, because they have had their own children turn against them. I know I have had, thank God I have 4. And not just for political reasons. I mean, this Marxism is affecting everybody deeply. And we didn't even realize they were, you know, my kids were in Catholic school and they were still indoctrinated. So I think it's really important that first you smile at somebody and then you ask them, hey, how was your day? Like after the commissioners meeting today, I was going to the parking lot and this woman was just bewildered. And she said, I just had to find 202. And the police officer said, go this way and go that way and go this way. And I go, well, he's a police officer. And so I said, if you'd like to follow me, I'd be more than, happy to lead you. And I said, do you have a GPS? And she's like, no, I don't want any more radiation. I was like, oh, she's right on my planet. Okay. So I think that if you do smile, that's really important. That's why I love the one I learned, the one with the mask with Laurie. I also now carry a picture in my phone of an N95 mask that somebody's worn, and it looks like a petri dish. So, like, guys, I guess because I'm just a touchy person, I am always hugging people I don't even know. Like if I'm at the post office and I see somebody in distress, I don't care if they're green, black, upside down, whatever. I just put my arm around them and I just say, is there anything I can help you with? Because everyone is there's so much fear out there. I don't fear because I walk with Christ every day. If tomorrow's my last day, I'm okay. I went to confession Sunday. I'm cool with that. But you know what I mean? But most people, at the end of the day, they're still very, very fearful. Even grown men, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of my friends, I'm like, wake up. They think, someone's going to get in and we're just going to be the old Republicans. And
well, it's good to have information at hand to give people. So whatever cause you have, whatever you would like to elevate, have that information at hand, like those pamphlets that you gave me with the COVID information and the vaccination information.
I always do that. I'm one of those people that never
So-
vaccinated my children. So I carry them. They cost me like 15 cents a piece. I'll carry like 10 of them. And I will just ask a mother that's carrying a baby, I'll say, would you
I know,
totally
but this is
offended?
a different topic, but yeah.
No, I know, but I'm just
So-
saying with people, feel like just disarm people. If you can just disarm people with your beauty, your smile and all. Laurie's really good at that, so if she can pass that on to you too.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I have a comment here from Lisa Von Dalen. She says, I'm just going to read it because it's easier than me doing my not so summary. I'm finding the simple ask is working when door knocking for committee prospects. When I boil it down to a vote for new leadership and then be at the polls for at least half the day on election day, they realize they can do that. I let them know that anything beyond that is icing on the cake.
Okay, with that, that's great. With that, I do go door knocking with a friend of mine, and we have created a page. You guys can't see this. I don't know how to do this, but it's a note that we can leave with somebody or at their door if they're not there, when we're knocking for something specific, like positions that we're looking to fill, and we put positions we're looking to fill over there, and we make it easy for them and give contact information, etc., for them to call us. You know, and if we have a direct conversation with them, then we have this available to them and we can give it to them. And we actually found a committee woman this way. She kept the paper with her for, I think it was 6 months or something like that before she was available and got around to it. But it's really important to give people information that you're looking to satisfy or disseminate.
Okay, I can see that we're over time and we're starting to lose some folks. Do we have
I
any
just
final
wanted to
questions?
mention one
Final
last
question?
thing.
Yeah, please.
When I need a cup of positivity, I listen to Dr. Steve Turley, and that really brings me up. And I just wanted to share that. I think he's fantastic. He's an educator, he's a historian, and very, very uplifting. So when I feel down, that's what I do. Just mentioning that. Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
Well,
I
mean, if there's a final question, I'll take it. I got to tell you, I think positivity is key. I
Yes.
can tell you from direct personal experience, even when you are in a war zone, in a life and death situation, literally, you cannot maintain oh my God, we're all going to die. It's nothing but depression. You can try, and you will, to use the military term, be combat ineffective very quickly, which, you know, in other words, you will psychologically fold up. You got to find a way to inject positivity, upside, have fun while you're doing it. I mean, that may sound crazy in regard to a war zone, but I mean, humans are humans. You got to manage this. You can't just, we all know we're in the fight of our lives. Okay, got it. Now still figure out a way to have fun and stay positive and pump people up. Otherwise, you're done. You're useless. You got to do that. Okay, last name, Turley is spelled T-U, Steve, and then T-U-R-L-E-Y, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, that
It's
was
fantastic.
a question. Anybody got a last question for the ladies? Obviously, they're not vanishing off planet Earth. We can follow up
Not
on
planning
this.
on it. The
If you can't
commissioners
get
would like
directly-
that, but
If you can't get directly to them, you all know how to find me, because you all find me all day, every day anyway.
thank
and
you
I
for
can
what you do,
connect you.
Sam. Thank
So,
you for
well,
everything that you do too. We really
look,
appreciate it.
Nobody made me do it. Nobody put a gun to my head, right? I was a volunteer, like all the rest of you. Okay, I think we don't have any more questions. So I'm gonna, I think, reclaim the host and close us out, okay?
Yep. I'm gonna hit
All right,
stop.
ladies.
Here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. as
I
well.
gotta tell you what, fantastic presentation, really. Will the slides be available? Can we make those available online?
Sure.
Yes.
Good luck.
Answer to that is yes. We'll have the recording because it's on my computer. We'll also make that available. And all of these two lovely ladies are not going anywhere. They're around to follow up. This whole thing is the beginning of a conversation, not the end of anything. I want to thank everybody on the call, not just for being here tonight, but for everything you do all day, because you guys are the ones who are making this happen. And nobody's drawing a salary and or getting any benefits. They're doing it for love of country. So thank you very much. Everybody have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, everybody.
Sam.
Thank you, Sam and